Assalamualaikum and good evening to all. So, welcome to our program. I want to persuade you modes of persuasion. So, please bear with us within this 1 hour and 30 minutes. Okay. All right. So, today we have a very special guest with us today. Okay. So, basically, before I let her in, okay, a little bit about her. So, she is currently a senior lecturer of Speech Pathology Program, School of Health Sciences, University Science Malaysia. Okay, and she did her PhD in Intercultural Communication at University of South Australia. And there are a few subjects that he has experience in teaching with, which are she has experience in teaching language development, psycholinguistics, as well as public speaking. Okay, so without further ado or without wasting our time, please welcome Dr. Jamilah Shaari. Assalamualaikum, Doctor. How are you?
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. How are you?
Okay.
Not so bad, alhamdulillah.
All right. I'm so honored to be here with you today, Doctor. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Thank you so much as well for having me.
Yes. Okay. Actually, I can't wait to listen to your talk today because basically, my students are here as well. So you guys better listen carefully. All right. There will be a quiz. Just kidding. Okay. So I hope that we are able to learn something from you today. All right. So, and actually, we are teaching this one subject. We call it English for Presentation Skills. And one of the assessment would be the students need to come up with a video on persuasive speech. So that's why, okay, I hope that they can gain something from you as well. Okay, Doctor?
All right, cool.
Okay, so are you ready, Doctor?
Yes, ever ready.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Jamilah Shaari.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, Madam Hafiza, right? Hi everyone. Hello. How are you? I so sad that I cannot see you like right in front of me, but you can still comment on the chat box on YouTube Live. I can still read it. I can still see it. So at least I know that we are actually interacting. Okay, right. A brief introduction about myself, as what Madam Moderator mentioned just now, that I am Dr. Jamilah Shaari, but my students call me Dr. Jam, and my friends call me Jam. So you can call me Dr. Jam as well. Okay, so let's just make it that way. All right, just call me Dr. Jam. Um, and I also teach public speaking in USM, and I have been doing this public speaking talk since as far as I can remember. Not many years. I think around like almost 10 years, or maybe a little bit more than 10 years, something like that. Okay, but this is by no means saying that I am, you know, an expert. I'm not. I'm still learning. I'm still improving myself. I also attend a few public speaking programs like Toastmasters International, because I believe that in order for me to share the knowledge that I have, I need to also improve myself, right? Okay. I'm excited to be here with everyone today, UiTM students. One thing about me when it comes to UiTM, I just cannot say no. I well, alumni of UiTM, it's always UiTM di hatiku. I know I should be wearing this purple tudung hijab, just to show this UiTM spirit. So it's always something that I always look forward to when it comes to event with UiTM. And when Miss D approached me, I straight away responded. I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem," because it's UiTM.
Yeah,
um it's
that's
not
right.
like I can go and hang out at UiTM. Like, the guard will definitely ask me, why are you here?
Why you here?
But at least I got this opportunity, and I think that why not contribute something to UiTM? Okay, the least that I can do is to contribute to the place where I used to be a student there. Okay, right. Now, when it comes to persuasion, and I heard that Miss Moderator mentioned something about that you have to do a persuasive speech video. Yeah,
Yes.
right. Now, Before we dwell into that, before we dive into this persuasive public speaking, persuasive speech, what is persuasive speech that you know, ladies and gentlemen? Would you like to comment in the chat box? What is persuasive speech for you? Not based on what your lecturers mentioned in class, but what is it? How do you define that? Anyone? Let's see. Let me have a look at the comment box. Yes, thank you, Hadi. What is persuasive public speaking or persuasive speech for you? How do you define that? What is your perception when you hear people say persuasive speech? See, it's a bit of tongue twister there. Persuade others about something. Okay, all right. What else? Speech by the politicians. Interesting. Yes. Undi, I still have it. Speech to persuade other people. A speech to persuade. Yes. Persuading someone to do something. All right. Trying to convince someone about your opinion. Okay. Maybe one or two more. The way you promote something. Who. To seek influence. All right. So to persuade someone to agree with us. So basically, you do have an idea of what persuasive speech is, and how and also why we do this. So the reason that I ask you is just to get a background knowledge from you, and also to see whether you could see the benefit, whether you have this preconceived idea about what persuasive speech is before we go into this topic. All right. Can I share the screen now? All right, cool. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to persuade you modes of persuasion. Now, if you have any question during the presentation, during the talk, feel free to just type the question in the chat box. And then if I have the time, I will look at the question and I will just read the question and answer. Or we can collect the questions and then you can ask the question during the Q&A session. Okay? Right. Now, the objectives of our sharing this evening would be on persuasive speech itself, what it means. And then we're going to look at the types of persuasive speech, and then the strategies of persuasions, and then persuasive speech and public speaking, the relation, how these two are connected, and how you can actually use this persuasive speech skills that you learn in your public speaking course, you can use that in your everyday life. Okay. Right. I think you know this persuasive speech is to convince the audience. You want someone to do something, you want someone to believe in you, you want someone to agree with you. Okay, it could be to buy a product, it could be about conforming to a particular political opinion. Okay, and most importantly, when it comes to persuasive speech, it involves emotion. It has empathy, it has these sentiments. You need to inject that sentiments to the audience, to the listeners. Now, when one of your friends here mentioned a speech by politician, yes, politicians would be among people who would use this persuasive technique, who would practice this technique, lawyers, politicians, salesperson. If I could give an example of our recent general election, I'm pretty sure that some of you, maybe not all, maybe not majority, some of you might have, you know, not really joined, but you might have listened to some speeches by politicians and how they deliver the speech, all this manifesto. I will make sure I will do this. What do you think? For the past 5 years, this party, this person, and then look at this Machi. How do you feel this Machi? And a lot of the time when they delivered that speeches, they touched on sentiments, issues that would somehow involve with your emotion, and that would be persuasive skills. Now, not all speeches that involve emotion. Okay, when you said that, oh yeah, when I said this because it triggered this person's emotions, so I'm a good speaker when it comes to persuasive speech. It doesn't necessarily be that way. You can triggers, or you can create, or you can inject emotions in your speech, but it doesn't mean that your speech is impactful. It might leave hatred to the listeners, to the audience. It might leave unpleasant feeling towards the audience. And we don't want that. We want at the end of the speech, a good speaker, when delivering a persuasive speech, is after they have listened to you, they would believe in you. They would agree with you. They would change their mind. They would do something for you or because of you. Okay, and that is persuasive speech, and we want to go into that. We want to be a speaker who is good, who is credible enough, who have all these good qualities of a good speaker, with all these techniques to deliver a good persuasive speech. And we will do that this evening, ladies and gentlemen. All right, are you with me? Okay, now before we go into understanding the um, before we go into understanding the techniques or the types of persuasive speech, one very important and essential thing would be to know your audience. I'm pretty sure your lecturers mentioned this in class. This would be among the first topic when it comes to public speaking. You cannot deliver a good speech if you do not know who your audience would be, who the listeners are. When I received this invitation, I contacted with Miss D, and then I asked her, who are the students? Which program, which degree program? How old are they? I need to get that information about you. I need to know who you are. I need to know how many of you would be joining us, would be listening to me. I need to know what kind of examples would be appropriate for me to use with everyone this evening. So, of course, you need to know the audience, because the most important thing is when it comes to persuasive speech is you want to make sure that your speech meets the needs and wants of your audience. Okay. Who are they? You might want to do audience demographic analysis. You might want to know information about your audience, like their age, their gender, perhaps, their race, ethnicities, the beliefs, the cultural beliefs, for example. And you may want to get information on the situation as well, the physical settings. I know that Miss Lee said, "Oh, we will be using StreamYard." I said, "Oh yeah, I've heard of StreamYard. I was a speaker with UTM Skudai like a few months ago, and we use StreamYard." So I said, "I kind of like familiar, but I'm not really sure, in terms of using the sharing screen and everything." So I said, "I will arrive early for me to test. I want to get used with the situation, with the settings." And if you were to deliver your speech, or if you were to persuade someone, not only you know who they are, but where are you going to do that speech? Where are you going to persuade that person? You might want to use some aspects or some elements of the settings that could help you with your speech. And you might want to know their disposition towards the topic as well. Do they like the topic? Are they interested in the topic? And since you have to prepare a speech or a presentation in relation to persuasive speech, of course you want to know what is it that what is it that is not included in class that I will get from today's or this evening's talk. So I need to know your disposition as well. You need to know your audience or your listeners' disposition towards the topic. You need to also know their disposition towards you as a speaker. What do they think of you? And also, what is their disposition towards the occasion itself? Do they have to come here? Are they what we call as captive audience? Do you know what captive audience is? Do you know captive audience? Anyone? No one? Okay. Captive is when you catch. So captive audience would be audience that sort of you catch the audience to be in that hall. So you sort of not to say jail, but you sort of put them in one place and you capture them. That is captive audience. So captive audience would be, they don't want to be there, but they have to be there. You don't want to attend this talk, but you have to be here because the lecturer said that attendance. You don't want to attend that talk at college, but you have to be there because you don't want to rent a house next semester. You need to collect enough points, so you have to be there. So you attended the talk, you listened to the talk with this very negative disposition towards towards the speaker, towards the occasion, towards the topic. Like, oh, you'll be sitting in the hall and you'll be like, look at the speaker. Oh, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Why am I here? Why am I here? Oh, please, please. And then you look at the watch. It says the program ends at 10. And then, 9:55. Okay, she's about to end. And then 10. It's already 10. Do you have more point? Oh my gosh, seriously? And then at 10:05, the speaker started to ask question. All right, anyone, any question, anything you like to add? Okay, anyone would like to share something? And you were like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, seriously, seriously, I want to go, I want to go. Now that is captive audience. You really don't want to go there. Okay, so it's best also for you to know whether your audience, they want to be there or not. Now, when I read the comments earlier on in chat box, hi Misty, it gave a very friendly impression, very friendly impression, very friendly mood. So I think that maybe some of you, I don't know, this is my assumption, out of like 500 students, maybe there's one or maybe there are two students who reluctant to be here. Okay, but because majority are happy to be here, excited to be here, somehow you lighten up the mood. Okay, so the captive audience would not be captive audience anymore. They might be like, oh, okay, not so bad. Yeah, I think I'm gonna enjoy this. Yeah, yeah, like, oh my gosh, so interesting. Oh my gosh, look at the comments, all these emojis. So it creates this different mood there. Okay, so you want to know all this information about your audience before you can even proceed with how do you want to persuade the audience. Okay, and once you get all this information, try to adapt to the audience. Now when I give example, like how I gave example just now, the impression that I did, oh my gosh, please, I don't want to be here. And they're like, oh, look at the emoji. Your age is suitable. I can give examples like this because I know who you are. I know the audience. You are the age of my students' ages. Okay. But if I were to give this talk to a group of professionals, for example, maybe age around 40 to 50 years old, I cannot use that kind of impression. I can, but they might not be able to relate that much. They might think of me, oh, how old is she actually? Like, why do we even call her? Like, don't we have someone who's professional? They might think like that, and it wouldn't be good for me to establish my credibility, to persuade them to believe in me, right? Okay, so I have to know, you have to know the audience as well, especially when you want to persuade the audience. So once you get all this information, you adapt to the audience. It's not how the audience adapt to you, it's how you adapt to the audience. Remember, when it comes to public speaking, when it comes to persuasive speech, it's about the audience. It's not about you, it's about the audience. Because at the end of the day, you want the audience to do something. You want the audience to believe in you. You want the audience to go back and remember your speech, remember your points. You want the audience to benefit from your speech. Okay. So you need to also make sure that you know their needs and wants. What do they want? When a seller sells something, they don't just sell it because they have that product, they sell it. They will study how what is it that you want in life, and they will add that product into, they will maneuver, you know, they will maneuver the way they deliver or they promote the product so that it fits to your needs, so that you will think, yeah, that's why I need to buy this, I have to buy this, mom, I really need to buy this because my life as a student now. They will say it that way because they know what you want, what you need. Okay, so once you know the audience, okay, once you know the audience, you already tick one box for you to prepare your persuasive speech. Okay. Yes, felt captive at first, but the way of talking got me interested. I hope you'll be interested throughout the end of the speech. Okay, right. Thank you. Now let's move on to the next one. This is on types of persuasive speech. So we know, okay, before we even begin with preparing the speeches, okay, Gen Z. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I'm Gen Z. I sometimes get a little bit confused of where am I actually, like in terms of the age. Am I like a boomer or am I like a Gen X? Maybe Gen X. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I need to like Google the age range again. It's always got me confused. But if you think that I'm such a Gen Z, yes, I feel you. Like maybe you're so like. Okay, now moving on. We are Gen X. Okay, X Y Z. Oh, it's like one. There's a gap there, but that's okay. Age is just a number. What matters is what's inside. Okay. All right. Types of persuasive speech. So we know before we even begin with drafting our speech. So we need to know what kind of persuasive speech that we want to deliver. So when you prepare for your presentation later on, think of what is it that you want to persuade. Will it be something factual? Will it relate to something, to a policy, or will it be related to values, your values or someone else's values? Okay. Now, when it comes to factual, okay, factual persuasive speech is when you focus on the truth or the facts of the claim in order to make your point. And then you would use examples like statistics, reports, library research library research, journals, past studies, for example. So when you deliver something, you might want people to believe or you might want people to do something. Okay, so you deliver a factual, persuasive speech where in your speech you focus on the truth or the facts or the claim. If you said something about, for example, vaccination, the benefits of getting vaccinated, for example, and you want to persuade people to go and take the vaccine, to go and get vaccinated. So you present reports. You present past studies. What are the findings from past studies? You present statistics of babies who were vaccinated and then babies who were not vaccinated. What happened to them? What happened? What would be the comparison in terms of the immune system, for example? So you want to persuade the parents or you want to persuade the audience to go and make sure that your babies are vaccinated because so you presented all these points. Okay, examples would be something like the when you give talks about vaccination, for example. Okay, or do you have any now I put it blank here because I would like to to know your thoughts in this. Okay, a lot of the slides I put it blank like this. What do you think of other examples of factual persuasive speech here? Anyone would like to share? Vaccination, for example, you want to persuade someone to go and get vaccinated, or you want to persuade the primary school children to brush their teeth. Okay, so you give all this. Okay, a bit laggy. Oh, that's okay, no problem. Or you want to persuade, you know, the young schoolers to brush the teeth. So you give, no, you can give statistics, but the way you deliver it, it has to be according to the age of the listeners. If you are talking about a factual, persuasive speech to a group of 7-year-old kids or 7-year-old children, the way you deliver it will be a bit different. Okay, remember the audience analysis. You know the audience and then you adapt to the audience. You can still give statistics, you can still give reports, you can still give, examples like numbers and everything, but the way you deliver it, it has to be suitable with their age, with the maturity, with their understanding. Okay. All right. Okay, I receive, if you brush your teeth you can eat more candy. Yeah, yeah, I mean that would be it's not something really factual there, but that can be something to motivate them to brush the teeth. Okay, you can motivate them to brush the teeth, or perhaps you want to encourage, it'll be a winner. Yes, you let's go brush the teeth. The one who brushes the teeth will be the winner. Okay, now everyone, why do we have to brush our teeth? Oh, look at these pictures, and then you showed pictures. Oh, look at the pictures. Look at the teeth. Oh, yucky. Oh, very scared. Do you know how many people get cavities in one day? 10 kids get, something like that. You still presented report. You still delivered your speech as a factual, persuasive speech, and you still give examples based on statistics. Okay, but of course the way you deliver it, it has to be different. Again, the importance of knowing who your audience, okay, knowing who the listeners are. All right, now that's on the factual persuasive speech. The next one, or the next type of persuasive speech, would be on value. Now this is when you want to talk about whether something is right or wrong, whether it's morally correct, or morally incorrect. Okay. Of course, it can be supported by facts, but then again, it doesn't mean that the speech is a factual, persuasive speech. All right. Now, don't get confused here, because for value persuasive speech, you mainly want to change someone's beliefs towards the moral values of something. Okay, it could be about the religion aspects as well. It could be something on cultural aspects as well. It's still something on the values. But of course, you need to have a concrete supporting details for your speech. You need to have evidences as well. And for that supporting details, for that evidences, you can use facts. Okay, but it doesn't mean that your speech is a factual, persuasive speech. Okay, it's very subjective because it is something that you believe in. Okay, when it comes to moral values, it's something that you believe in, and what you believe in might not be the same as what others believe in. The way we grow up is different. We were raised up differently. We have different exposure. We have different environment, and the way we think would be different as well. And yet, you are there wanting to change the way people value things, and it's not easy. So you need to use the listener's empathy, or you need to be more compassionate towards them. You need to have this, empathy skills. You need to understand again the audience wants and needs. And of course, you need to have a good argument to change their minds. It's not easy. When you said, okay, let's say you, for example, let me give one example and then you can continue, providing more examples. Okay. You can, just jump in. Let's say you have to deliver a speech about, okay, about, um, the way you dress, okay, the way you, um, okay, let's say the way you eat. You think that it is not correct to eat with fork and spoon or chopstick. You think that the only correct way would be eating by hands. Now, that is what you morally believe in. Now, I'm not saying that what you believe in is right or what you believe in is wrong. That's you. But let's say you have to deliver a speech that way. I mean, of that kind of topic. You can still deliver it that way without offending people, you know, without offending people. You can still uh, give examples of why do you think that it is morally correct for you to eat with your right hand. No matter if you are left-handed, it is morally correct for you to eat with right hand. You can give examples. You can give some supporting details of, I don't know any. I'm just creating this one. Maybe something about cleanliness, for example. Okay, you can use that in your speech, no problem. And you need to use that listener's feeling so that when they listen to your speech, they would be thinking of, yeah, I think so too. They change their mind. Okay. So that is when it comes to value kind of persuasive speech. Okay. One question: does value speech the same as opinion speech? For example, why face-to-face classes are important? Now, face-to-face classes are important. For me, I think it could be one. It could be categorized as a value persuasive speech, or it can be categorized as factual persuasive speech. It depends on how you shape your speech. If you shape your speech in such a way that you talk all these factual points, the benefits of face-to-face classes, because of the face-to-face interaction, because you can see the body language, because you can ensure the students attendance, and you backed up your points with evidences, that can be a factual persuasive speech. But if you deliver your speech in such a way that you talk about the values more, then it will be value persuasive speech. So it depends on how you shape the speech. At the end of the day, we have all these different types and different categories. You can choose which one do you think would be more comfortable for you to talk, more comfortable for you to talk about, more comfortable for you to deliver. And then you shape your speech, or you craft, not shape, you craft your speech in such a way. Okay. If you were to give a speech about one question from Madam Doreen, if you were to give a speech about your stance on the morality of capital punishment, that would be an example of value persuasive speech. Yes. Okay. Capital, your stance on the morality of capital punishment, that would be value persuasive speech. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Now, moving on to the next one. The last type of persuasive speech would be on policy. Policy persuasive speech. This is when you persuade audience to support or to reject a policy, candidate, or rule. Okay, it's about the specific action. whether something should be done or not done. Okay. Now, facts and values traditionally contribute to policies. For example, if you go back to the example given by Madam Doreen just now, if you give your stance on the morality, when you talk about morality of capital punishment, that would be value persuasive speech. But if you talk whether should we continue or should we not continue, whether it's whether this kind of punishment should be continued or should we abolish, now that would be policy persuasive speech. So you are being very specific about a certain policy or about a certain rule. So that would be persuasive speech. When people debated about RUU, for example, that would be policy speech. Again, policy persuasive speech. But then again, how you deliver it, how do you craft your speech? What are the points that you want to include in your speech? It can determine whether it's a policy persuasive speech or a value persuasive speech. Okay. Another ideas on value. Internet dating is immoral. Pregnant women should not be given special parking spaces. This is now when it comes to value persuasive speech, it can be a little bit controversial because again, as I said earlier, that it's based on your what do you believe is morally correct. And what do you believe to be morally correct might not be, morally correct to other people. Okay, but it doesn't mean that you cannot change their mind. You can, with the correct persuasive skills or persuasive speech techniques, you can make people change their mind and believe in you. Okay, right. Thank you very much. Now, are you still okay, everyone, so far? Okay, right. All right. I will just assume that you guys are okay. All right. Now, so we know that you need to know your audience, and then you need to also know the types of persuasive speech so that you can craft your speech, okay? So that you can craft your speech in such a way that it meets the needs of the audience, and also how do you want to deliver it, okay? Now, when it comes to delivering, okay, when it comes to the speech delivery itself, there are few ways, okay? There are few ways or there are few strategies, okay? Specifically for persuasions, okay, strategies for persuasions. But a lot of people will talk about these three pillars: the ethos, pathos, and also logos. Okay, the ethos, pathos, and also logos. These three things. Ethos would be your credibility and your character. Pathos would be emotional bond with your listeners. And then logos would be logical and also rational argument. So okay, before you even begin, before you even craft, or before you even select the topic for your persuasive speech, or the topic for you to persuade someone, you know who they are. Analyze the audience. And where are you going to present, or where are you going to present that persuasive speech? Where are you going to persuade that person? Okay. And what do they want? What do they need? And then you start to craft your speech. Choose whether it would be a value persuasive speech, or a factual persuasive speech, or a policy persuasive speech. Once you know what do you want to deliver, then you can work on how do you want to deliver it. Okay. When it comes to public speaking, not only public speaking, communication skills, even, you have the content and you have the delivery aspect. Content is very important. Delivery aspect is much more important. Have you heard of this saying? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Have you heard of that saying? It's not what you say, but how you say it. Anyone? Have you heard of that saying? Yes? Yes. Let's say you put on a dress, okay? a t-shirt, a pair of pants, and then your hijab. The colors don't match, for example. And then person A said something that offended you. That person A said something like, "Oh my gosh, seriously, you gotta wear that hijab with that shirt and with that pants? Oh my gosh!" And the other person commented something like that, but that person somehow did not offend you. You know, that person when person B say it, you would be like, "Oh yeah, I think so. What do you think? You know, what kind of color do you think would suit this T-shirt? You know, like so that I would stand out. Oh, blue. Okay, let me change to blue. You know, so it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So even if you have very solid argument, but you deliver it wrongly, you will never get it across to your audience. Your audience will not believe in you. Your audience will not be able to see your argument at all. Okay. So, how are we going to deliver it? Okay. So, we have these three big pillars. This is a very common pillars of persuasion when it comes to public speaking. Okay. The first one is ethos. This is your credibility and your good character. It already gives the credibility to the audience whether you can be trusted or not. Can I trust the speaker or not? And when do you establish your ethos? It could be at the start of your talk, or it could even be before the presentation. Now, before my presentation, you have seen the poster of today's talk. Oh, this person, doctor, oh, ada PhD. That's already give a little bit of credibility there. And when the moderator mentioned, why do you think that moderator always introduce a speaker? And moderator, I mean, regardless of any talks that you attend, moderator will introduce a speaker, will give some educational background. If you have any achievement, they want to know what your achievements are. That is when they establish your credibility as a speaker. If you do not have a moderator that does that, okay, you establish that credibility. Oh, hi everyone. My name Lalala. I've been in this this cryptocurrency Bitcoin whatever for the past 20 years, and I have blah blah blah. That is when you establish your credibility and people will believe in you. It's important for people to trust you when you want to persuade someone. Okay. So you need to have these characteristics of trustworthiness and respect, similarity to the audience. You know, you build a common ground with the audience so that they feel, although they know that, oh, this person is, this person has this such uh credentials and everything, very credible to talk about this topic, but at the same time I feel connected to the speaker, I could like resonate with the speaker. That is when the speaker build a common ground with the audience. And then you create the common ground, you create your good character, your credibility, you create the authority as well. Whatever it is, I am the speaker here. I am the so called expert on this topic. That is not self claim, but the moment you invite someone, when you invite a professor, for example, so you know that you don't just simply invite anyone. You invite someone because you think that, oh, this person is, good to deliver this topic, for example. The same goes when you want to seek help. Let's say something happened to your laptop, or let's say you don't know how to use Excel. You don't simply ask anyone about Excel. You might ask the person next to you, do you know Excel? Or you don't. Or you don't know how to, oh, okay, no problem. Do you know Excel? Or you don't. Or you only know Microsoft Word. What Microsoft Excel? You never heard of Excel? You don't simply ask anyone. You would ask people, do you know anyone who knows Excel? You search for the credible person for that field. And then your friend said, "Oh yeah, this guy, he's very like, an expert when it comes to Microsoft Excel." So you will go to him, okay? And the person will establish this authority and the expertise and also reputation. So once you develop this, you have this ethos. Because if people don't believe in you, people don't see you as someone trustworthy, as someone who has the credible to change your mind, why would they listen to you? I'm pretty sure even in your house, okay? I'm pretty sure even in your house or maybe among your friends, you might have one particular person in your family members or one particular person in your group of friends that what if this issue we will refer to this person, we will ask for her opinion, we'll ask for his opinion. Sometimes our moms would be like, Ma, what do you think of this? I don't know, let's wait until your brother comes back lah. We'll ask your brother. Now the kind of credibility that your brother has, and whatever he said, your mom will listen. Your mom would be persuaded by him because he has this ethos. Okay? If you are not a credible person to talk, people will not listen. Like, why do I have to listen to you again? Like, remind me why. Okay? So it develop that, establish that ground. Okay? And you can do that at the start of your talk or before the presentation. Okay? And the next one is what you need to have. Another or the second pillar would be pathos. This is when you deal with emotion, empathy, sympathy, pathetic, when you connect with the audience emotionally so that you can influence them. How? You can use emotional point, you can use emotional topic, you can even use emotional words. Now, what do I mean with emotional words? Um okay, let me think of emotional words. Perhaps something like, okay, this kitchen roll is a lifesaver. Rather than you say this kitchen roll is great. So the word, because the word lifesaver, it brings more emotion as compared to this thing is good. If you buy this Dyson vacuum, your mom will not be tired anymore at home. Instead of if you buy this Dyson vacuum, it will make your life easy. Well, okay, it'll make your life easy. But when the seller said, when you use this, it will lessen the burden of your mom because you are not there to help your mom. You are staying, you're not living together. So, another way of you helping your mom is to buy this electronic maid, this Dyson vacuum cleaner, for example. That is when you use the emotional word. And you would be like, ah, betul lah. Mak nak tak vacuum Dyson? Orang post kat rumah. you know? So you use that emotional words. So you don't only connect with the points, you don't only establish the credibility, but you also connect with the feeling. That is why when people said, okay, now I'm gonna give this example. I'm gonna give this guess like them. Okay, bayar 3 kali tak apa, tak ada masalah. Now, I want to give this example, but okay, disclaimer, this is not me campaigning or anything, okay? But I'm telling this because I use this, okay? Now, this is, I don't know if you can see this. This is my essential oil. This is peace and calming, okay? Now, as human beings, of course, I will get nervous as well. No matter how many talks that I give, sometimes in a week I delivered not speeches in class during lectures, speeches for my Toastmasters. Sometimes I deliver up to like 4 to 5 speeches in a week. And I have to prepare. And I will be speaking in front of, all these distinguished Toastmasters, people who are so established. This is Young Living, Peace and Calming. So, Young Living brand. So before I start with the speech, I will use this because the smell is so calming to me. Okay, so I will apply this topically to my wrist. Okay, and then I will deep inhale, and somehow it helps me to relax, so I don't feel that nervous anymore. Now, when you say, let's say you encounter someone who has this panic attack or anxiety attack, for example, and you would say, you know what, yeah, people would say that you salawat, you take a deep breathing and everything, but this one helps me as well. You imagine that yourself like this, so how you feel, so you use all these emotional words to relate to the audience, to persuade them to buy this product. The vacuum cleaner, the brand is Dyson. Dyson, Dyson. Oh, I love Dyson. Dyson is like for me the best, but it's very expensive. Okay, it's very expensive. If I want to buy it, I would have to like save money. But yeah, if the seller say, "Oh, bayar 3 kali can," maybe I'll think of it. you know. So you use all these emotional words to 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 relate with them, to show that you understanding them. I'm persuading you to show that you understand them. Like, hey, I feel you. Now, to say that you understand, that's a bit cliche because I believe that we can never understand people. Although we experience maybe similar disease, for example, but I cannot say I understand because you are two different person. We are two different persons and our body reacts differently. But we could imagine how they feel. We could imagine how they feel, and we could imagine how how suffer they are, when they experience that panic attack, when they experience that anxiety attack. Okay, and you really want to help them. you know you don't fake it. You don't fake it, you really want to help them, so you connect with them. So that is when you connect with them, you understand them, and if you are able to do that, you have this pathos. Okay, you can use the visual aids like what I did just now. I use visual aids. Okay, and I use different vocal variety. Imagine when you have, can you, did you notice the different vocal varieties that I used during my speech for the past almost 1 hour? Okay, the different intonation will not only get the attention of the audience, but also get the feeling as well. They get to feel what you are feeling. You need to bring them into your world so that they can relate with you. Okay? Is it important to start a persuasive speech with attention getters? I would say not only persuasive speech, whatever speeches that you want to do, it's important to have attention getters or hook. Now, you want people to stay with you. You want people to get hooked in their seat so that they would feel, hey, this is interesting. All right. Okay, let's get it. You want them to be like that. Or you want them to be, yes. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Sorry. I have to listen to this. You want to get the attention. But sometimes you yourself is already the attention getter. You yourself is already the hook. But I would say most good speeches, most successful speeches, they have hooks or they have attention getters. Okay. Attention getters can be so many things. You can start your speech with joke or anecdote or quote, or perhaps your stories, So you can start with a lot of different attention getters or different hooks. If you watch TED Talks, for example, they do that. Sometimes they ask question. How many of you here just recently break up? How many? How many? Four? Okay. Right. What happened? Did you ask for the breakup, or is it because of you or because of the guy or because of the girl? They ask question to get you engaged, to get to get you to basically to grab your attention. So I would say yes. I would say it's best to have attention getters. But remember, attention getters is attention getters or hook. They are not your speech. Don't spend too much time. Let's say your speech is 7 minutes. Don't spend 3 minutes just for attention getters. No. 1 minute, 1 minute and a half, that would be enough. Okay? Because it's not the attention getters that they are there. It's because of your speech. Attention getters would be for them to stay with you. Okay? All right. So that's on pathos. And the last pillar would be logos. This is when you have this logical and also rational argument. Okay. You based on the audience intelligence. This is when you have this audience analysis. And of course, you have supporting evidence. And you, as a speaker, you need to be knowledgeable on whatever topic that you want to persuade your audience. Now, you may ask yourself questions like: are the messages coherent? Are the messages clear? Are the messages concise? And does the evidence useful? Does the evidence meaningful? Does the evidence sufficient? Will the reactions lead to my desired outcome? So you may want to ask yourself these questions as you are delivering your speech. Yes, you need to establish your credibility ethos, and then you need to connect emotionally with your audience. You create this bond with the audience, and then you need to also have logical and also rational argument that would be at the level of the audience intelligence. Again, we go back to the audience analysis. You need to know who they are. And if you are delivering something academic, you may want to ask the organizer what would be the education background of the audience. Okay, so that you get, an idea of how you should deliver the speech. Okay, how you can achieve this logos is to have comprehensive speech. Okay, it has to be logical and specific as well. Now, when you, regardless if it's a value persuasive speech or factual persuasive speech or policy persuasive speech, you need to make sure that your points, okay, in order for you to improve your logos, would be that your points, your arguments, they can be understood. There's no point if I keep on talking, but you don't understand anything. And it has to be logical as well. It makes sense. Your arguments make sense when I give examples of the this young living, and then I mentioned something about anxiety, about panic attack, anxiety attack, how you are nervous before you present. It's something that everyone can relate. A lot of people can relate. It's logical for me to give this example. When I said, yeah, you buy that vacuum cleaner for your mom because your mom tired, it's logical to use example. You are not with your mom at the moment. You are staying at, maybe some of you are living with your family members because, your family is in Shah and you're in Shah. So like, might as well you just stay with your family rather than you rent a house. But a lot of students, they have to rent a house. They live with their friends. They live at the hostel. So they are away from the mother, they're away from the family members, and they know that, if I'm at home I will be doing this, but now I'm not at home, my mom is doing this. It's something logical. And then be specific as well. When you want to establish logos, you have to be specific of, your claims, your facts, your examples, so that it is specific, it is concrete, so that these examples, the speech, they can be received and they can be received and digested by the audience quickly as well. Okay. And of course, you use, suitable language, appropriate language. Again, you look at who the audience are. Example, when I said about brushing your teeth, if you want to persuade 7-year-old, year one children to brush their teeth, you cannot, you cannot use bombastic words. You even have to use different vocabularies. You have to use a lot of vocal varieties. You cannot just sit and talk like this. You have to be active. Hi, everyone. Okay. Who brushed their teeth this morning? Ah, you did not brush your teeth, right? Okay, put up your hand. Oh my gosh. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. You have to have that energy. You have to match it with the audience. Again, you adapt with the audience. Okay. So use appropriate language, when you deliver the speech. So that you can achieve this logos. Then you can achieve, and you can improve the three pillars of persuasions: the ethos, pathos, and also logos. Okay, you can do this. You can, when you deliver your speech later on for your presentation, you can craft your speech and plan your speech delivery so that you can, achieve this ethos, pathos, and also logos. And the audience will be persuaded by you. Your lecturers will be persuaded by you. Okay, then that means politicians have been using logos persuasive speech. In terms of the delivery, logos, in terms of the type of persuasive speech for politicians, mostly on the policy, because it's always about the candidacy, about a particular party, about a particular politician, changing the policy and everything. The delivery aspects, they might use a lot of logos here, but they also have this ethos aspects, and they also have this pathos aspect when they touch on the emotion of the listeners, of the voters. When they said something, don't you want improvement? You want your children to go to school. You want to make sure that when you buy this, they use words that would relate to the audience or to the voters, to the listeners. But of course, they need to have this logical, rational argument as well. But sometimes some politicians, they lack of logos. Lack of logos, they lack, in a sense, that they lack of logical and rational argument. When you listen, I listen to some of the videos, not because of the parties, but because of the speeches that I'm more interested in. So I noticed that some of the politicians, can I use majority? No. Some of the politicians, they did not have a logical and rational argument. It's mostly this person is stupid, that party is stupid, this person is stupid, that party is stupid. If you vote for that person, you are stupid. you know so what is the argument there? What is the logical and rational argument there? And sometimes the way they talk, when they talk about, oh, the finance, this we lost how many billions because of the finance, and they talk about this, all these financial issues, and they use all these terminologies, all these jargons, and the speech was held at kampong, so on and so forth. And when I look at the faces of the audience, all these pakcik and makcik, I'm not saying pakcik and makcik are not educated, but from the facial expression, they look at the politician, they're like, I don't know whether you can see my expression right now or not, but they look like this. And then they will be with the phone. That's okay lah. I just listen. There will be like ayam bakar after this. You know. So where is the logos part there? Where is the logos part there? The pathos, yes, maybe. The ethos, maybe, but logos, not so much. If you are a good speaker, you will try your best to achieve all these three, and maybe you have achieved, but not that good. So you can keep on improving these three aspects of delivery: the ethos, the pathos, and also the logos. Okay. All right. Now, so we know, the audience, and then the types of persuasive speech, and then that's in terms of crafting the speech, and then in terms of delivering a persuasive speech, we have these three different, the ethos, the pathos, and the logos. Now, what persuasive speech has to do with you, public speaking, and you as a person? You might think that, oh, I have to do this presentation or persuasive speech because I take this, you know, public speaking course as a co-curriculum subject because I wanted to register for dancing, but then, I was late, so the only course that's available would be public speaking. So yeah, what the heck, public speaking, okay lah. So you're here, and then you have to do this persuasive speech, and you might wonder, so I use this skill only during public speaking course, and after this, will I be using it? Yes, yes. You are using without you realizing. You may realize this, you may not realize this, but you're using these persuasive skills. Okay, you're using these persuasive skills even in your everyday life, even now. So I divide this into during university years and after university years. Yes, Madam Doreen, good persuasive speech techniques is when a speaker can balance all three: ethos, pathos, and logos. Yes. Okay. If the speakers are yet to achieve this, the speakers can work on it. Okay. I'm not saying I'm good at all these three. I'm still improving. I'm still learning how to be better day by day. Okay. There's always rooms for improvement. We can always improve ourselves, and we learn together. Okay. Now, when it comes to how you do or how you use persuasive speech in your everyday life, with yourself, you persuade yourself to come to class. Okay lah, okay lah. It's okay, Jamilah. You give this talk, and after you give this talk, you can continue reading. After you give this talk, you can continue watching that Korean drama. You persuade your family members, you persuade your friends, you persuade your mom to buy you iPad, or persuade your dad to buy you iPad. You persuade your friends to accompany you to go to this one particular restaurant. And your friend say, oh, okay lah, okay lah. You use that skills in your everyday life. Now, being specific to during university years with your classmates, when you discuss ideas, for example, how do you persuade your classmates to believe in your ideas? How do you use this skill with your lecturers? You persuade your lecturers to extend the submission date of your assignment. When you want to extend submission date for an assignment, I don't know how you do it, but during my time, like many, many years ago, almost 20 years ago, we would choose someone in our class that we know he is trusted among lecturers. And then we would say, uh, n- yeah, normally it would be me back then. Okay, back then. So they'll be like, Jem, I think you need to tell the lecturer to, extend the submission date. I said, why me? No, 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 because, you are the class rep, you have this, credibility. The lecturers, like, believe in you. Like, they don't believe in us, And then we're like, so the whole class will discuss, and we would craft the sentences. And I would be the person who sent that message to the lecturer, or I would be the person who would knock on the lecturer's room and said, doctor, well, actually, for our class, we have this, so on and so forth. So we're thinking, is it possible, So I used my persuasive skills back then. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that. Not until I started working and started giving, talk on public speaking, started to know more about public speaking, persuasive speech, formative speech, demonstrative speech, all these kind of different speeches. And I was like, yeah, I did that, when I was in degree, like, oh, okay, okay. And imagine, I did not attend specific public speaking course on this. Now you are attending this. You are attending this course. I'm not saying that use the skill to ask for extension for submission date, for assignment submission date. No, 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 no. Okay, don't get me wrong. Okay, and lecturers, I'm not, I'm not implying that. Okay, but I'm saying that you can use these techniques in your everyday life, even with administrative stuff. Some struggles that students might experience if you involve with a lot of activities, for example, you have to deal with administrative stuff a lot. Some people can be, friendly, some people can be not so friendly. They might look at you like, oh, students. But how do you establish your credibility there? Okay. And then you use this during your presentation as well. Your presentation, you want to deliver your point, you want to make sure that your friends listen to you, your lecturers listen to you. So you use these persuasive skills. And once you have graduated, after university years, let's say you go into selling, let's say you go into marketing, you would use these persuasive skills. You want to get serious with Young Living, for example, or whatever product. You want to get serious with marketing. You want to be in a marketing department. Okay. You want to convince your management, you want to convince your superiors to take your ideas, to take you as part of the team, to involve you in this project, to give you the responsibility to handle that project. How are you going to persuade them? Okay. And you want people's attention to your presentation. You want people to listen to you. And most importantly, you want to make sure that you are important and worthy of attention. An audience, they want to know that. They want to know that you are important to them and you are worthy of their attention. You are worthy of the time to be here. 8:30 until 10 p.m., that your time to be here is worthy to listen, listening to my talk. Okay? So you will be using that skills, whatever skills in your public speaking, especially when it comes to persuasive speaking skills or persuasive speech here, you don't only use it for presentation, you use it in your everyday life, daily life. You will use it, try to leverage, that knowledge that you have right now with your classmates, your lecturers during your presentation, and use that after you have graduated as well. When you work, when you present, when you want to sell your idea, when you want to make sure that your management listen to you, you want to make sure that, hey, I may be a fresh graduate, but I'm good. Okay. Why? I'm a UiTM student. Okay. That's what I always tell people, like UiTM, although I've been working with a lot of different universities. Okay. So you use all these skills, you use this persuasive skills. Most importantly, get to know the audience, okay, what they want, and then craft your speech. Identify what kind of persuasive speech that you want to use, and then craft your speech around it, and then practice or plan your delivery. How are you going to present it? And try to involve all the three pillars and improve yourself always on the three pillars, so that you don't only give factual information, logical argument, but you also touch them. You also, connect with them emotionally, so that they trust you, they believe in you, they will change their mind, and they say yes to you. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you very much, everyone. And I think I have answered most questions, I think. Yes. And I pass it back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jam. Okay, such a very informational topic today. Okay, I really like it. Okay, so students, okay, remember, all right, so in persuasive speech, okay, it should be a combination of ethos, pathos, and logos. Okay, all right, so I learned that now. See, Okay, and then I really like the first one, which is the captive audience. Okay, and then I saw that one student commented over that. Yeah, at first we are captive because we have to be here because it is compulsory, but now okay, they enjoy it. All right. Okay, so let us see whether if we have any more questions. Okay, perhaps we can have a few more questions before we end this program today. All right. So audience, okay, if you have any question to Dr. Jam, please don't hesitate to ask. All right, make use of this. All right, so don't be shy. You can ask anything that related with persuasive. Okay, while waiting for the question, Dr. Jam. All right, so uh I really like the one that you say that during your time. I think during my time also we have that. Okay, we have that one representative. Okay, to ask for the extension of the assessment, the deadline. Definitely. So we will ask that person. Okay, why not you go to talk to the lecturer? Okay, ask for the extension. We do have that. All right. So I think even now, okay, even now, I think my last semester, there's one class I still have it. There's one representative came to me and asked, "Is it possible to extend the due date because they are having this, and this?" So yes, it's true. They are using that person, okay, because they know that person has the credibility to persuade the lecturers.
Yes. I think that's one question, right?
Yes. Okay. So we have one question, Doctor. What kind of topic would be good for a persuasive speech?
I would say anything. I would say anything. You can even persuade. I remember this one particular persuasive speech back then during my uni years, one of my seniors. So he did on persuasive speech, let's go to the mosque.
Let's go to the
So he
mall.
came, let's go to the mosque here. And then he came to the presentation. He was wearing this jubbai with the serban and everything. And he was giving this, 3 points of why we should go, guys, why you should go and pray at the mosque because of this, the good deeds and all that. I remember one good deed, and then point number 2 and 3 I forgot, but I remember that one particular presentation of why you should go to mosque. Let's go to the mosque, let's go and pray at the mosque, something like that. So when it comes to topic for persuasive speech, it can be anything. It can be anything. Most importantly, I would encourage you, if you were to present a persuasive speech, find something that is close to your heart. Because when it comes to persuasive speech, you want to use your emotion because you want the audience to feel you. You want the audience to change their mind. You want the audience to believe in you. You want the audience to do something for you. So if you couldn't relate with the topic, it will be very difficult to deliver that speech. So find something that you think is very relatable to you, something that is close to your heart, perhaps. Why you should listen to Girls' Generation, not twice, for example. Why you should listen to NCT, not BTS. You know, I want to persuade you to go to BTS concert next year in Japan. Something like that, Then you would have the passion and people could see the passion, they could feel the emotion as well. Okay, so try to find something that is close to your heart, I would say, for persuasive speech.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So we have another question I can see over here from Akila. So she asked if facial expression with
Helps with persuasive speech.
yes help with persuasive speech. That's right.
Okay. Akila, my dear, facial expression important is very important in public speaking, not only in persuasive speech, in public speaking. Facial expression, it doesn't mean that you have to be, very expressive. Not a lot of people, they have like very expressive kind of, facial expression, but there are times where there are times where you can look intently at one particular person. There are times that you can, make a serious face. when you want to look serious, and when you want to deliver a very sad information, you don't want to deliver it like 20 people died yesterday. You don't want to deliver it that way. So that intonation will come together with facial expression. So not only in persuasive speech, in whatever speeches. But since we are here in persuasive speech, yes, it is very important. But not only in persuasive speech, I mean other speeches as well.
Okay, all right. So I think we have another one over here, Doctor. Okay, so facial expression is very important, you guys. Okay, all right. So how to show assertiveness in my speech without being awkward or cringy? Oh, yes, interesting.
Uh, okay. I don't know how do you show your assertiveness in your speech, and how would you define that being awkward or cringy? You know, something maybe it's for you it's something normal, but to others it might be a little bit awkward or cringy. um I'm not sure how, because I don't know you personally. But I would say whatever you do, whether it's facial expression or your vocal variety, your body language, or even your content, your the language that you use, whatever it is, if you want to be assertive, don't do it too much. You know, like people always say, less is more. So you don't have to be, if for example, if you want to stress on a certain point, let's say 20 people, like, ladies and gentlemen, 20 people, that's good enough. That's enough for it, rather than, ladies and gentlemen, 20 people, 20, can you imagine, like 20? Now that is like, why? So you don't want that as well. So make sure whatever you do, it is in moderation. um not too much. So because yeah, I don't know how would you define that, being awkward or cringy. But personally, I would say, don't overdo it. Whatever it is, don't overdo it. So then inshallah it should be fine.
Yeah. So what I can say that perhaps there are certain that you can stress on, right? It depends, right?
Mm, mm,
It's
mm.
not all the time. It depends. Okay, all right. So I think one more question to go. Okay, so from the Ika Zara. So Ika asks about, does body language play an important role for a good persuasive speech, Doctor?
Okay, this is similar to facial expression. Body language is important not only in persuasive speech, in speeches. You don't want to just stand there static and deliver your speech. You need to have at least, some gestures. So whatever body language that you want to use, whether it's your gesture or you want to move around the stage, make sure that those are meaningful. If you want to use gestures, number one, number two, number three, these are considered as meaningful gestures. You don't want to just do this, or you don't want to just, back and forth or side by side on the stage. You move there and then you move here. Your audience will get distracted. Your audience will look at you instead of listening to your point. So you need to have that body language. You cannot just stand still there. You need to have that body language, and again, in moderation. And I would add one more: meaningful. Whatever body language that you use, make sure they are meaningful. If you move to this, I experienced this one, I witnessed this one speech. Right now I'm sitting. So this guy, he told a story about his transition as a person, his emotionally, emotion transition, when he was in primary school, secondary school, and when he at uni. So what he did was, he stand the side, and then he said, when I was in primary school, and then he moved to the other side when I was in secondary school, and then he moved to the other side when he said, when I was at uni. And then when he went back to primary school, he will move to that place, primary school. So the body language, his movements, they were meaningful. The movements have meanings. So whatever movements or body language that you put, you need to have those, but make sure it's in moderate, enough and meaningful. Okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Doctor. I think that's all that we have. Okay, so I would like to call out our team members actually, okay, to be joining us. All right. So please come in. We have Diana, we have Miss Doreen, we have Miss Warda, we have Miss Nisa, as well as Madam Salwa with us. Okay.
Madam Moderator,
Yes.
is it possible that I answer this one last question because I think this
Yes,
is,
please. Okay. All right.
yeah.
So let me read it for
Um,
you first. Is it?
okay, this is on does eye contact between speaker and audience important? Because I tend to look at empty space or wall when talking in public. However, my body language, tone, and facial expression is still there. Now, if you notice, I'm not sure whether you noticed or not, during my speech just now, I look at this lens rather than I look at myself at the screen here, but I look at the lens here. So if you are on Zoom or online, so it's best that you look at the lens because just like when you take picture, so that it gives the audience impression that you're looking at them. Eye contact is very important when you deliver a speech because imagine when you're talking to someone and they talk to you but they're not looking at you, so you're looking at that person, and then when the person replied, the person like, tula kan, I was like, and you feel like, hey, hello, I'm here, hello, look at me. Okay, so when you deliver a speech, try to look at the audience. Sometimes we look at the empty space, maybe because we're shy, or because we're nervous, or maybe there might be some, your crush is there looking at you. So avoid your crush. Look at everyone, and then look at one particular person who you think you feel comfortable. There might be one, at least one in the hall among the audience that when you look at the person, because that person is, nodding their head, you feel comfortable. You feel like, hey, this person is listening to me. So you look at that person and then you look at the rest and then you go back to that person. But don't stare at that person, okay? So you have that body gestures, you have that facial expression, but when you don't connect with the audience, they don't they're not able to connect with you. Dari mata jatuh ke hati. Okay. If not dari mata, macam nak jatuh ke hati. Something like that. So you look at the audience, you have to look at the audience. Try to practice, look at the audience, and then look at one person. You can look at empty space, and then you have to look at the audience as well. Okay. But don't make it obvious that you are looking at the empty space or wall. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. All right. So we do appreciate that. And Dr. Jam, thank you so much for being here. Hope to see you again in the future, Doctor. And everyone, thank you for joining. We do appreciate that. Hope to see you guys again. The class is as usual, next week, yeah? Okay. Only this week. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so
class
much,
Assalamualaikum.
dismissed.
everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. All the best and take care. Good night.